remembered to unmute my microphone. That's a good start. G'day, everyone. It must be Monday night, so it is time to chew the fat. We have a new guest on tonight, somebody that we haven't had on, which is going to be a bit of interesting for anyone that's in or wants to ask questions about your stock standards, your Goldens, your cod, your trout, or your reddies. And Trent is a local to sort of the top end of Victoria, so Mulwala, Hume, all the creeks and rivers up this way for the trout. So looking forward to having a bit of a chat with Trent as a first-time guest. So go easy on him or ask as many hard questions as you want to. It doesn't really matter. Listen, for all those people that sent photos through that have won prizes throughout the show, I'd like to thank everyone that has sent their photos in. Harry does get a bit of a kick out of that each week when people do send their photos in. He asks everyone to send a photo and writes everyone individually a letter. So thanks everyone for sending those in. COVID, it still sucks. So for all my Queensland guests, yes, we're still in lockdown. We're not sure on what's happening, and I'm going dead shit crazy not being able to go for a fish. But don't forget, we are giving away postcode prize and Harry's wheel for later on. So the postcode prize for tonight, we've got a couple of big cod swim baits. So they're Aussie crafted swim baits. So we've got two of those and some cod power baits. I know it's not cod season, but they'll come in handy next year. So don't forget to put your postcodes in. And the way that that's drawn is Harry gets on the computer inside while I'm on live here, and he decides who wins the postcode. So sucking up to Harry is always a good thing, apparently. People have learnt that sort of trick. Let's see, we've got a few on. G'day. Who we got? Scotty, Elion, Luke, David, Jeremy, Kev, Joel. Yeah, we've got heaps on tonight. It's a good show. So, as I said, we've got prizes to give away. Harry's wheel later on in the show. We've got the swim baits and plastics to give away for the postcode prize. And, I can yabber on for a lot more, but I do have to say there is, for those that are interested, the Allocraft Ambassadors Apprenticeship, we're just about to close entries on that. So for the people that haven't jumped in and put their entries in, you've got about 2 weeks left to get your entries into the Allocraft Brand Ambassadors Apprenticeship Program. And obviously the winner of that will walk away with the boat for use. So it's a cool little rig. And basically, it's set up for all of your fishing needs. It will be electric powered and, got live wells, a whole lot in it. So I believe there will even be fish finders on that. So somebody's going to walk away with that. We'll be doing the entries into that. We'll, as I said, close in a couple of weeks' time. And then we will do the process where we're only going to cut it to a top 5 or maybe even smaller, and we'll go from there to see who actually wins the boat. So it'll be the same as last year. The boat that Bill won, he's lucky enough to be in the sort of top end of New South Wales, so he's got freedom in his LGA, so he can get out in his boat and have a bit of a fish. So that's all cool. Oh, let's get Trent on, and we'll introduce Trent, and then we'll get straight into all of your questions. So I'll bring the man himself on. G'day, mate. How you going?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Look, I'd like to thank you as a first-time guest coming on the show and Chewin the Fat. I hope people have got their questions on there to win. Now, I have to say, I get confused with your last name. Tell me how to say it properly.
It's just free with R, so Freya.
Freya.
Yeah.
I was going to say Freya, and I thought, no, I know you don't say it like that on a YouTube show, so Freya.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, there we go. We've covered that. I've got that right for the night. Hey, I've been following you. One of the first YouTube channels that I found when I moved back to Victoria 2.5 years ago before lockdown. I spent a lot of time watching your stuff and love your stuff on YouTube. You've got a fair bit out there. You chase the cod, you chase the yellows, you do Moala. There you go. Brenton's already on there. He said, fishing, you're a legend. So that's
cheers, mate.
that's all good. So yeah, look, you got into that nice and early. You've been on it a lot longer than most people. What made you go into the whole YouTube realm?
A bloke I used to work with, actually. Yeah. It was on YouTube himself, and then I'd just sort of take a few videos and stuff like that of fish I've caught, and I'd just be on my phone and we're sitting around the smoko room. And then basically he said, have you ever seen YouTube or ever thought about putting your stuff onto YouTube? And I said, nah, never even thought about it, maybe just on Facebook and stuff like that. And then, yeah, after talking to him for about, I don't know, 2 or 3 smokos, I thought, well, I'll give it a go. And basically just started looking at stuff at YouTube and how to start a YouTube channel. And it just went from there, and then just slowly progressed into what it is now.
Yeah, no, and it's a really cool channel. So, everyone should get on it and check it out. But, it's very hard to get that content all of the time. How have you gone through COVID lockdowns? Have you been able to get much new content filmed or, edited in that period of time?
Nah, COVID's been really tricky, and I'm sure it'll be pretty tricky for most other people because, as we all know, when we go fishing, it's just not one of them things where you can just get out there on one day and then the fish are going nuts. Sometimes it takes at least 2 or 3 trips to sort of start getting an idea of what you need to do or where the fish are and where they're biting. And then, so when you only get like a certain amount of time here and there to go chase things, it starts getting a little bit tricky, that I felt.
Yeah, for sure. With all the lockdown stuff and different rules on different sides of the border, 2 hours per day, even if you're within 5 Ks of a fishing spot for a Victorian, it's very hard to film a video in 2 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I suppose if you're going to be filming it, you just have to do every 2 hours and then just make a multiple 2-hour video and then just break it down like that. That'd be the way that I'd probably attack that. But yeah, I'm lucky enough to be in New South, and I don't know why they've got different rules, but we can pretty much stay in a local government area or our zone and sit out all day. So I haven't been doing it as much as I should, but I sort of just feel sad for everyone else that just can't get out and fish. So I've been at home doing other stuff while all the lockdown's on.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that off air, and it is one of the things that does become frustrating as an avid fisherman myself, and coming from Queensland and talking to all my Queensland mates. They really still don't get how hard it's been for everyone that is in that lockdown scenario. That they've still got their freedom. They're driving around. They're doing all their stuff over and over and over again, and they're still going to fishing comps and all that sort of stuff. And they putting all the photos up. I've actually got to the stage now, as petty as this sounds, I'm actually snoozing people for 30 days.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of, I'm happy for them to be out there fishing and catching fish, but it's just bringing me down seeing them out free and me not.
Yeah, it's definitely mentally challenging, that's for sure. 100% there.
Yeah. So listen, guys and girls that are out there, get your questions in. I've got one here. Zach's asking me a question, but we'll both answer this. So Zach's saying, after this lockdown, what am I chasing first? Look, to be 100% honest, it'll just depend on when the lockdown finishes. So if it does finish soon, I'll go out and chase some reddies just to get a feed. If it's another few weeks away when we've got a water temperature change, it'll be Goldens. And if the borders do open to Queensland, I'll be taking some holidays and going up and chasing some barra. I'm not going to sit here and wait for the next lockdown. I'm just going to do the bolt. And if the borders ever open to Queensland, I'll be up there as quick as what I can. So what are you looking at doing as soon as lockdown's over?
Well, this time of year right now is like as you said, as the water's starting to slowly warm up. As of probably 2 weeks ago, I'd be at the Hume chasing yellows. So hopefully we can get out there very soon and start chasing them, because I can go down to my whaler and fish the river around home at the moment, but the water with all the rain that we've had is up and super dirty and just pumping through. So it sort of quietens things down a lot when you've got so much water going down the river.
Yeah. So people out there will be, probably waiting to find out and ask how tricky you are on the questions. But, you've been fishing this region here for a long time, and you've sort of, as I said, my whaler, you've got the river behind you there. You've got Hume, you've done the trout streams. Do you think we'll start with trout? How long until, with all this rain that we've just had over the weekend, I think Hume, I've seen photos on Facebook today that Hume's going over the top, so it's 100%. Do you think that the trout fishing is going to take a little while to recover from that rain?
Yeah, especially like in the Midder and the Kiwa. If I was going to be going to chase anything, I'd have to be going up into like the smaller creeks, because they'll come down a lot quicker than the main rivers will.
Yep.
And then other than that, if you wanted to do it, it'd be just the Hume and chasing the trout and the Hume, because that'd be a better option with the water coming up.
Yeah. So do you think that the water's going to be an issue in Hume? Now, we've got to 100%. I've never been here when it's been at 100%, so to speak. Does it take longer to warm up? So because it's a massive waterway and you're going to get snow melt coming in, very soon, is that water temperature going to be able to get up to that 18 degrees before summer? Yeah,
it definitely will. I've had it other years where it was pretty much similar. It went from really low 20% up to 100%. And places like Bona Reserve, like that big flat out there, you can easily get the water temperature up another 2 or 3 degrees more. And then up to Langata End, there's some parts up there that you can get the water temperature is going to be 2 or 3 or 4 degrees more than the actual where the river runs true.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of reports of late of the Bona Arm being the place to go to catch reddies, but they're also catching a few trout up there as well. Is that sort of your go-to looking for those sort of flatter areas rather than the river channels?
Well, at this time, like with the water up so high, you're going to have a lot of new water or new ground that's covered by the water. So all the bait and all the other stuff is going to be up in them new patches. And then that just activity creates activity. So all your fish come in to feed for all your cruising bait fish. And anywhere that you can find a creek channel or the river close to them areas, you're always going to have a really good place where fish come in and out to feed all the time.
Yeah. So the yellow belly themselves are, I think, this year going to be an extremely fun species to target in Hume because of I've said it for the last 4 or 5 weeks on the show that the reddies have spawned 4 times now, going into a 5th spawn at the moment. The last time I got to go out, they were still rode up. The 20 fish I caught and 18 of them were full of eggs.
Yeah.
So those Goldens are going to be gorging on little reddies basically as their staple diet for the foreseeable future. I think there was a question here about go-to lures. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, Elon.
Yeah, was it Elion? Yeah.
Elion, yeah.
So what would be your go-to lure, coming into spring at, say, Hume for a few yellers, for people going out there chasing yellers?
Would have to be 2 just go-to lures. So you always got your soft plastics that work better. And even in that, like your gulp black grubs, you can never go past a gulp black grub. And even in the watermelon color, they're like just renowned yellow belly soft plastics. And sometimes they don't work so good. You got to have a little beetle spin added to them, which is basically just a miniature spinnerbait on a jig head.
Yep.
That you can chuck on there to give it a little bit of action, and lipless crankbaits. I'd never at least try to go chase yellow belly without either one of them in the boat. So your lipless crankbaits like your Jackals, your McGrath that I use, the Vibes. You've got a billion and other brands out there. Obviously, Jackal's probably the most well-known out of any lipless crankbait. But, yeah, it'd have to be lipless crankbaits in your 50s and 60s, like your millimetre size, and, yeah, your black goat grubs, and basically any other sort of wriggle tail grub plastic.
Yep. So are you fishing deep, or are you fishing shallow through the spring? Like I know when I go to say if I was heading up to Windermere for the spring competition time, I'm going to be trying to smash those edges and get those bigger fish up off the edges. Are you still staying when you're talking say gulps and stuff like that? Are you staying out deep?
Yeah, no. Low light periods will always be in close. Starting close, look for your grassy points, and then as the sun comes up and everything creeps out, then I'll move out off the points, and then I'll hit creek channels or, tree lines, especially in the Hume, because you've got a lot of trees in the Hume. And that doesn't really matter which impoundment I fish. I always tend to start that same way, starting the shallows for the low light periods and then work my way out as the sun gets up. And just sort of try to move with the fish.
For sure. All right. I've got plenty of questions for you, but I'll keep on to the questions that are coming in. Kev wants to know. Hang on, where did that go? There. Kev wants to know, when you're fishing for cod, better on the full moon or the new moon?
I've always liked the full moon only because the visibility for yourself, because at Blowering is one place that I'd easily be able to say, like, when it's no moon at all, it's pitch black and you really can't see. So the full moon in that retrospect, but I think catching fish is the new moon for me.
Yeah. So, I've been out at Copeton on days where, especially around the new moon, and you cannot, like, it's just like mosquitoes flying up and down the dam, and you just get scared that somebody's going to run over you.
Yeah.
Is blowering like
definitely.
that?
Hey, what's that?
Is blowering like that, where they get out there, they turn their lights off?
There's been a couple of times I've been, cruising across the middle of the dam at night time and nearly ran into someone because they're out in the middle of nowhere with no lights on.
Yeah.
Having a fish.
That's crazy stuff. All right, thanks for the question, Kev. Brenton's got on there, Trent, what's your PB and your most memorable catch?
For just anything?
It must be anything, yeah.
Oh, the PB obviously is 1.20 metre for cod.
Yep.
Yellow belly would be 62 centimetres. And I reckon, the most memorable one would have to be the 120 cod with my dad. He got to share the same moment. So he had a lot of fun with that. And that's one of the videos that are up on my YouTube channel as well with my dad there. What
time of year did you catch that?
That was in July.
Yeah. So you're out for a winter fish?
Yeah.
And 120 in the boat with Dad?
Yeah.
Not bad.
So that was a good moment because, Dad, he's not a huge fisherman, so it was just really good to have him there.
And see what size they were. Was there? I can't remember. I've watched the video. Was there much swearing going on?
I try not to swear as much as I can on camera.
Yeah.
And then, I swear off camera more than I do on camera, so I try not to swear.
It's hard when you do the editing, and you've got to edit really good catches out because you've stuffed up.
Yep.
All right. Obviously, running in the family from Christy. Is it Christy? What's the most random thing you've ever caught?
She had to bring this up. My whaler fishing lipless crankbaits in winter, and it was a G-string.
You caught a G-string?
I caught a G-string in Lake Whaler. That's a bit of a random thing.
That is very random, but I
was getting clothing too, because there was another year I caught a bucket hat, and then there was another year I caught a shirt or something like that as well.
So somebody's obviously leaving their clothes behind for you.
Yeah, and then there was another year, one of my mates, he caught a pram.
How do you lose a pram in a dam? It's got to have been washed down from somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm having mouse problems tonight. She doesn't want to go into the right spot. I don't know if my batteries are flat or not. Justin wants to know, what line class do you use chasing yellows in good, clear water? That's a great question.
I'm a big fluorocarbon fan, so I'm always using at least 6 to 8. It just depends. Like blowering, you can even go down to 4 pound if you really want to, because there's not that much structure to really have to worry about. But places like Burrinjuck and obviously the Hume and that with trees, I'll go 8 pound fluorocarbon.
So
and if they dust me off in the trees, they dust me off in the trees.
So you've jumped across to the straight through bandwagon?
No, braid. I have braid onto a fluorocarbon leader.
Yeah.
I just like the castability of fluorocarbon, or the actual braid, I should say, off the fluorocarbon.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. So, and fishing reasonably light. So,
yeah, for yellows, it's pretty much the same as my trout setup. So I'll have 6 pound braid, and then I'll have 6 pound or 8 pound leader.
Wow, that's amazing. There you go. The 2 years we've been running, I was just looking at my board. 2 years we've been running, and I don't think anyone's suggested that light on yellow belly. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you get dusted, especially on a 6 pound line.
Yep.
But yeah, you usually can get them out of especially out of the trees for a little bit. But on the banks, you don't usually have any dramas whatsoever.
That's cool. I'm gonna downsize a bit and try that. All right, Alian's got another great question here. Obviously, Alian's got his own YouTube channel. He's trying to get off the ground, or not trying. He's doing a great job up in Queensland there. What has been your biggest thing you have learned through YouTube and recording your fishing trips?
Biggest thing? Well, the biggest thing would have to be when you're fishing, you always think you remember exactly what you were doing. And then when you get home and then you start watching it over again, then you're going, oh, is that what I did? Because you have that thought in your head through the day, like you got the bite doing that one simple technique, or you did it that certain way and the fish bit it. But yeah, I found a lot of the times when I thought I was doing something, it was the complete opposite and I got the bite. So that's really helped me out a lot.
That's crazy. I've said to a few people to actually, not just YouTubers, but fishermen in general, to run a camera on your boat, have it plugged into permanent power. It doesn't have to be in high res, and actually record yourself fishing. And how many times you will do exactly what you just said, where you think you're doing a shake and bake, or you think you're doing a double hop, or because that's what you've been, as you said, exactly right. You've been doing it all day. And then when you actually watch the video back, you go, hang on a minute, I wasn't even winding. Or, you make assumptions in your head, but it's not until you watch the video back and you go, hang on a minute, I was doing something completely different there. Yeah,
definitely. That would be the biggest thing I've learned off mine, or watching mine again.
Yep. All right, there you go, Alion, get into that. Jack wants to know, on your lipless cranks, are you running trebles or assist hooks for the yellows? While on the subject, minnows for trout, do you run trebles or a single hook?
Well, the first question, if I'm in a lake situation, like in an impoundment, I like to run a treble at the front, but then use like your ZX40, ZX35 assist hooks on the back, just to have that little bit longer hook set, I guess. So when they're short striking at the back, there's once they start to suck it in, the nice little hooks have got somewhere just to go in really quickly. But if I'm using lipless crankbaits in my whaler or in a river, I'll just stay straight trebles because of just all the timber and the current.
Yep.
And then for minnows for trout, I just love single hooks. You just can't beat single hooks for me. I mean, you get a lot of trout that will spit out your single hook, or you'll just, miss a hook set or something like that. But yeah, trebles just sometimes they get caught up in rocks and all that kind of stuff a little bit too much for my liking.
So when you're talking trout stuff, a lot of the stuff that you're doing is up in the real, like it's all new to me. These small little streams, rocky streams that I drive past and go, there can't be any fish in there, and people are in there fishing.
Yeah.
Is that why you're sort of not running the trebles in them, because those trebles get stuck between the rocks and stuff like that?
Yeah, like even if I go to Yukonbean or Jinnabine or even Taubingo, I'll still use like on your winged lures, like your Tassies and all that kind of stuff, just one single hook.
Yep.
Instead of a treble. Because I mean, you had the old style wire that had the treble hook on it. It was just awesome to change lures in and out all the time, but that just gives another tow point for the fish when it's jumping to throw your hooks and miss the fish. But yeah, single hook's always the go, I reckon.
Oh, there you go. Great.
I've never really noticed the difference in hooks, like missing fish from having a single to a treble.
Yeah, awesome. Because some people are really stuck in their ways with that. They won't change, or they won't deviate from what they're doing. But cyst hooks, I think, have come a long way in the last sort of 5, maybe 6 years. You can get nearly as many different size single hooks as what you can with trebles and that now. So
yeah, definitely.
Right, let's have a look. Let's see if I missed any questions over here. Keep your questions coming in. We'll keep Trent on. So let's while I'm waiting, Brenton reckons, watch out for those ski boats at Talbingo. I've never actually been to Talbingo. What's it like as a fishery? You get up there much?
It's awesome for the redfin. It's probably one of them places that, doesn't get fished for redfin enough, because it does have a really good population of reddies. It's got yellow belly in it as well.
Yeah.
It's got the old trout cod, even though obviously you can't catch them. But for trout itself, there's some really good trout all the way through that system.
What would be your pick of it? We'll pick species to start with, trout, straight up, right? If you could go anywhere in Australia to chase trout, where are you going?
Oh, Tassie.
Tassie?
Yeah, Tassie's awesome. But if it had to be within sort of, New South Wales, it would be Yukonbean. I love Yukonbean as a place to go chase trout.
So for anyone that's in the LGA right now that can get to Yukonbean, is it going to be fishing well at this time of year?
No, after October long weekend, because all the fish have moved out of the lake. There'll still be populations of fish in the lake, but yeah, after the October long weekend, when they open up the streams and all that kind of stuff again, all the fish will start moving back into the lakes and impoundments. And yeah, they're just always a little bit, as they called it down in Tassie, slabby, because there's not really much on them because they've gone and spawned and all that kind of stuff, but they're always hungry.
Yeah. So that's another weird one for people that are new to the area and whatnot, that Victorian trout streams are now open. They always open around Father's Day. And New South Wales trout streams don't open until the October long weekend. So there's almost a month different in those trout sort of openings. Do you know why that is? I've never been told.
No, I've never bothered to ask, but I suppose it's just the same as what the COVID rules are now, where you guys in Victoria can only go out for 2 hours and 5Ks from your house, whilst the rest of New South Wales can do it all day as long as they're in their LGA.
Yeah, crazy stuff. I'll keep. So we've got Yukonbean for trout. If you're going to chase reddies, where's your go-to spot for reddies?
Blowering
for reddies, yeah.
Yeah, there's a really good population of, they're sort of very similar to the Hume. They sort of kick off at the same time, and they get really big. But yeah, I'd have to say Blowering. There was one year that we had, basically you just go off the boat ramp. You wouldn't even have to drive anywhere. You could chuck a soft plastic down, and then as soon as you hit the ground, you'd be on. And then you could just stay there for half an hour and just catch as many as you wanted, and then just move to another spot once you got bored of catching the ones that are in that size sort of bracket.
And they all tend to be around the same size in those schools, don't they? Like,
yeah.
From what I found, I've only been fishing for eddies again for the last, since I moved back from Queensland, and every time I get on a school, they're always the same size fish.
Yeah. They always look like to stick in their similar sizes, I think.
Yeah. So we've got trout. We've talked redfin, yellows. Where are you going to if you can go anywhere in Australia for yellows?
Well, see, I've always wanted to go to Windermere as a place to chase them, but the Hume, I just can't get past the Hume. I've fallen in love with that place for the yellow belly.
Ricky Doyle and I have had a lot of arguments about Lake Misery, as we like to call it. It did take me, 18 months to sort of get my head around the actual physical size of it, being from that southeast Queensland corner. All the dams that they call big up there are just a puddle compared to these.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to work out where different species were sort of holding or where channels were and all that sort of thing. But I've gone from the love-hate relationship to actually loving Hume again. But I can't go past Windermere for pure big yellows consistently.
Yeah.
I think because it's a smaller waterway, but you tend to 620s aren't uncommon in a fishing comp, when pressure on the dam and stuff like that. So Windermere for me, for yours. What about cod? Where's your go-to cod?
Well, we moved down this way for a reason, and it was my whaler. I just can't go past it.
Is there a particular time of the year that you like to fish mull over any, or you'll just go out there anytime and fish it?
I have
obviously
preferences of fishing in certain areas in the lake throughout the year, but I'll fish at any time of the year.
And do you find there's lots of wives' tales, which I'm finding, I've talked about on the show over and over and over again since I've got the live scope, live sight stuff on my boat, that a lot of the wives' tales are just thrown out the window.
Definitely.
The old rumour file was you only caught big fish in my whaler during the colder months. Now, that's just, you still go out there. I've seen your videos. You go out there on those hot days and still catch big cod.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's harder to catch them in the hotter days because the smaller fish are more active during the summer and the warmer periods. And the smaller fish, of what I've been told and led to believe, is basically the metabolism's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So your smaller fish are going to be a lot more aggressive and need to eat more often. So I think that's the only reason why people might say that the colder months are the only time to catch big fish, but I just believe that the colder months are easy to catch the big fish because all the smaller ones, they go quiet and dormant.
Yeah, that's a great point. I've never looked at it that way. I've thought of, when I talked to, because I didn't get to codfish much, being bass and yellows around that southeast Queensland corner. There's not many cod fisheries. We used to have to do the long trek to Copeton, and you might fish for a week for 10 or 12 fish, and some of them were big ones and whatnot, but that was between 3 or 4 boats, and it's a real grind. It wasn't until I got down and a couple of trips to my whaler, and when you tell people you're catching 20 to 30 cod in the weekend, they don't believe you.
The fisheries have gone completely nuts these days. When I first started, I got into cod fishing through a friend it was workmate. I was more loving coastal fishing because, some of my family lived down the coast and that. And I loved me flathead fishing and brim fishing and stuff like that. And then it wasn't until I met a bloke at work and, he got me into cod fishing, and then I just fell in love with it. But back then it was sort of more carp than anything else. And then just each year it's gotten better. You could go to the Murrumbidgee now in Wagga, and you could go there for a weekend and easily catch up to 60 cod. I mean, they're not going to be probably any record-breaking sizes. They are getting better each year, and a lot of bigger ones are getting caught now, obviously with all the rules and regs and all that kind of stuff, making it better. You don't have 1,001 set lines, and you still get the odd drum net and all that kind of stuff that you'll see out and about. But without as many set lines, and I suppose the pressure of fishing, I don't think has changed that much. It's maybe got more popular. But yeah, there's definitely a lot more fish and bigger fish out there now.
I think definitely we've got better as a society in general, that we're not keeping everything that we catch, and the majority of people are doing the right thing. Yes, there's the occasional tool that goes out there and does the wrong thing, but in the majority, it's a role reverse. So, do you think that's helped? As you said, that when I was growing up, carp were just plague proportions everywhere, but that was because my dad's generation and the generations before, they just took everything out of the water, and all those big cod just got hung up on the tree, and there was nothing there to eat the carp out. And it seems to be that the carp have come back definitely into different areas, but the cod seem to have thrived, and the yellows seem to have thrived throughout time. I think it's been pretty good management in total, don't you reckon? Yeah,
definitely. That's 100% right. Yeah, the management that they've got and all the plans they've got in place with stocking and all the rest of it. It has, you can go down to your local river or wherever the closest place is you like to chase what your species is, and you've got a really good chance of catching not just a good size fish now, but a fish of a lifetime sort of thing.
Yep, no, 100%. So we've done trout, we've done yellows, we've done reddies, we've done cod. I better draw the postcode prize for tonight, because we're doing about halfway through the show. We're well and truly halfway through the show. So the two, what are they, Aussie crafted swim baits there, and the plastics is actually one Harry sent me through, and it is Jacob Curry. So Jacob Curry, you need to send me a message to Corey's Damn Fishing Facebook page with your address, so I can then post those out here during the week. So you're the winner of that. We've still got Harry's wheel later on, which we'll do later on. Alan's got another question here, straight up off the bottom. Rods and reels. What rods and reels are you running for your yellows, mate?
Just your typical 2 to 4 kilo, 2,500 size reel, egg beaters, like your normal spin reels. And occasionally I might have a cod rod left in the thing, but 1 to 3 kilo and 2 to 4 kilo are definitely the sizes that I use to chase yellows.
Yeah, and let's go into stuff, because as I said, I've watched your videos, I've loved the content that you produce, but there's nothing over exaggerated in your gear that you use. You've what's the boat you're running at the moment?
It's the Quintrex Hornet, so the F450 Hornet.
Yep, it's got a 4.5 meter boat. It's something that's affordable to most people. You don't need the big flash bass boat to go out there and perform. You do it over and over and over again. Obviously you look complete angler, and you have a bit of a partnership together by the looks of it.
Yeah, just a brand ambassador for Complete Angler. So when I do, just obviously get out and promote a little bit of Complete Angler when I can.
Yep, that's all I'm trying to do, is give you the thumbs up, to give them a bit of a plug while we're on the show. Because without them, it makes it quite expensive for us. So if you can if anyone can get any discount from anyone, it's a bonus.
And no, even when I was getting into Murray cod fishing and all that kind of stuff around Wagga, the Complete Angler, who I'm brand ambassador for in Wagga, they were the ones that you walk in and spend an hour looking for lures, and then another hour sitting there talking to them about fishing and where fish are getting caught, and learning all the stuff that you need to learn to go fishing. Yeah,
and as I've said 1,000 times on the show, support your local guys. That's what they're there for. They're doing it as tough as what everyone else is. So if you're going to do an order, support your local guys. Do the order through your local guys. Complete Angler, I watch their fishing report, all the time, because it's a quite in depth. From Wagga out to Blowering, the trout dams, through the streams, down to the border here, and it covers everything. So, and it's a great report all the time. Obviously, Yakimedo's, always mentioned in the videos, but apart from that, pretty good report.
Yep.
All right. There was another question I was looking there. Scotty Gullick wants to know, what's your biggest trout?
Biggest trout? It would be 60. It was like 65 centimeters was my biggest trout. Because most of the times when I'm out and about, it's usually stream fishing. And yeah, it was a 66 centimeter came out of a small little stream. So that was a doozatron for me.
That's massive for a stream fish.
Yeah. And that was when we first moved down here up to the Little Snowy.
That's people might take that out of context. So I reckon, if you had to think about that in a dam fish, you're talking well over 800.
Yeah,
maybe bigger, or in a cod. That's over a meter cod in a comparison to catch a fish of that size out of a stream, isn't it?
Yeah. Usually they're always sort of your pan size, 30, 40 centimeter fish. But yeah, I was quite stoked with that one.
Excellent. Brenton wants to know, do you still get out in the yak?
I haven't been out in the yak for a while, actually. I've been pretty lazy when it's come to the yak. Like you said, you've got the live scope or your live target or whichever one you've got, you said, on your boat.
Yep.
And as soon as I've done the same thing, I've got live scope now for Garmin. And yeah, I've sort of been using my boat more than anything, just sort of getting my head around that technology and doing it that way. So yeah, I'll endeavour to do a few videos on obviously the setup I've got on my boat and all that kind of stuff and go from there. But yeah, just sort of been doing that instead of being out in the yak. And then with how much the water's gone up and ripping through the rivers and stuff at the moment, I think it might be maybe summer. I might get out and give it a crack.
It would be very hard with the amount of water that is going down to do any sort of yak fishing in the Murray itself, especially if they open the gates here. Did you used to get out in the yak a lot more than obviously Brent knows more than me, but is that sort of where you started out before you got the boat?
Nah, starting out was like everyone else, just walking the bank, doing kilometres and kilometres a day on creeks and rivers and lakes, just walking around and throwing lures around.
All right, there we go. So I've hidden that. Mouse keeps freezing. Right, Paul, I'm not 100% sure when species, because I go Australia-wide, what's stocked down here? I don't think anything bar trout us really stocked in the impoundments down here. My whalers are self-serving cod fishery.
Yeah,
I
they still do yellers. Yellers, like you can get a list of all the waterways with yellers if you go into the DPI or one of them, and they'll show you all the little waterways that they put all their yellow belly and they stock them into. Obviously they do the trout, as you said. I know they'd like to do that around school holidays. So then some of the littler lakes that are just out in the middle of the whoop have got fish in them.
Yeah, so I can't really. Maybe you can expand on that, Paul, for trophy fish. I know if you want to talk.
Well, I know of a Jindabyne when they have their brood stock.
Yep.
And a lot of times when big fish get caught in Jindabyne, I'm not saying all the time, but a lot of the time, the big fish that someone holds up at Jindabyne is an ex-brood stock that they used to throw in, or they'd thrown in from the hatchery into Jindabyne. Yeah.
Now, I see he's holding bass up in his profile photo. So if you're going to talk bass, I can sort of go into that from memory. It's 2 years from fingerling to 30 centimeters. So you're looking at 2 years to get to a legal size fish with the Aussie bass in the impoundments. Then it depends on the dam from there, how quick they can grow. In Somerset, it's been proven that they can get to that 50 centimetre mark within 5 years, but that's the exception to the rule. Boondooma's normally about 10 years to get to a 50 centimetre mark from stocking if you have perfect weather conditions and no droughts and all that sort of thing. So,
and lots of food in the dam,
yeah. And bass are a strange one in the sense that they're not strange in the sense that they gorge like redfin. They're basically like any other perch. They will gorge and they'll hunt the fish up into the shallows and they'll just keep eating and eating and eating. So on those dams with flatter, shallower banks where they can push the fish up into and then go out and digest into the deeper water, they grow a lot faster. So that's why Somerset's got 4 keggers in it. So Justin's got another question here. Obviously, trout fishing, a lot of people talk trolling. So when flatlining trout in the dam, is there anything you should be looking for on the surface or the sounder?
Wind lanes are always awesome. So if you've got a good wind lane that you can see, usually then wind lanes will have bugs and everything else in them. And then, you can be out in 30 meters of water. And as long as you stick to the edge of them wind lanes, you've got a really good chance of the trout coming along and they're already feeding there to coming at your lure.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get you to explain that to the complete and utter novice. So when you've got that, when you've got that pretty much flat water, you'll see the wind will make a ripple up the water.
Yeah, it will look like a road, but
it's not actually
in the middle of the water.
It's where the wind's turning the water over in that. All right, there was another trolling question there too that I had earlier on, but I can't remember what it was. It was about electrics. Oh, there you go. Troll on the electric motor or petrol motor, or does it not really matter?
Well, like my old boat that I used to have, it had a 30 horsepower on the back of it, and when I troll with it, I'd be doing 4.5 to 5 k's an hour, and then sometimes even quicker with the wind behind me.
Yep.
And trolling in my whaler, it'd be just one of them situations where it was all on the day. So if you're trolling the electric and you weren't getting fish, I'd just chuck the main motor in and just troll around with that and do like my 4 to 6 k's an hour plus, and sometimes even only have the lure out a meter behind the boat going across the shallow flats and still picking up fish. So it was just one of them all about the day sort of thing.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask questions about trolling on the show, and I haven't had a lot of people that do a lot of trolling, but do you troll by GPS speed or by feel? Now, when I say by feel, like the way that I was always taught to troll was get the lure in the water, and when it's working at its optimum, that's the speed that you troll at. If you're running a Tassie Devil, you're gonna run that at a kind of a different speed than say a McGrath wide body. But in the same aspect, if you've got a couple of different lures out, you got to pick the happy medium between them. Yeah,
that's the worst bit. When you have 2 different lures, that's when it comes a lot more technical, because some lures like to troll a bit quicker and some troll obviously a little bit slower because obviously the size of their bibs and all that kind of stuff. But mine was always to the conditions. So if you're trolling in somewhere where you needed to obviously get down really deep, you just either go quick or fast. It's just the one will either trigger them or the other one will be in their face long enough to trigger them, sort of thing.
Yeah. So
I never found a magical speed.
No,
it was just just as long as the lure's working and you're down there. And sometimes like a blaring, like the edges drop off into ledges, and you'd need to sometimes go up a little bit higher to come back down and then hit the top of them ledges and sort of dredge the bottom for a bit to kick off it for the fish to actually come across and hit it.
Yeah, for sure. And I found like anyone, never troll in a straight line. Don't fill the esky up with tinnies and just sit out there and drive around in circles, because you'll never catch anything. If you really want to catch fish trolling, really concentrate. There is an art and a science to it. You've got your rods out. If you're trolling up, doing an S bend, that lure's going to go slower. And then you're going to work out which one's going to be the right speed for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
All right, we've got another question here. Paul wants to know, Sunglasses, favorite lens color. Now, obviously, do you run different sunnies for different occasions? So for that creek stuff in that rubbly, shallow water, you're on a different lens to what you would out at Moala?
Oh, well, I've only got the 2 pair of sunnies. One's got that amber lens for when it's a little bit sort of overcast and all that kind of stuff. And then the other one's just sort of that typical green sort of color lens. I'm not really technical on the lenses and all that kind of stuff, but yeah, that's the only 2 I've got. So that's the best I can answer. Yeah. They're obviously polarized. But yeah, one's sort of that green tinged polarized lens, then the other one's just amber.
Yeah, definitely. I use I've got a low light lens for obviously low light situations, which I'll put on my head, say for a competition at the start of the day. By about mid morning, they'll come off my head, and I'll put the darker ones on just to stop the glare. But it gets very hard late afternoon, early morning with sunglasses on, still trying to see if you've got just dark sunny. So I always do.
And then I've donated sunnies to Moala and the Murrumbidgee.
Mate, look, I did say that you haven't got a bass boat, but Chrissy's on there saying that you would love a bass boat. Wait until you get one. If you do get one, there won't be a season that you go by without losing 2 or 3 sets of sunglasses. Because I'm kind of glad going back to the Bass Pro, dropping back to the 115 horsepower, I haven't lost a pair of sunnies yet.
Yeah.
But, when I was running the big nitro with the 250 on the back, didn't matter how many times you'd put your sunnies on the top of your cap.
And then forget about them,
forget about them, take off up the dam, go to reach your sunnies, and they're just gone.
They're gone.
Yeah. So you will donate a lot more. Craig wants to know, we'll finish off the last couple of questions, get them in quickly because we're just about to do Harry's Wheel and we'll call it quits. So get your last questions in. Craig wants to know, scent, do you use it? Personally, he uses on Trans Am Soft Vibe ZX Blade.
I think we've dropped out. Okay then. Corey's just dropped out for a second. So the scent question, definitely do use scent. It's obviously comes down to the day. Like if I'm catching fish without it, I don't bother to put it on, of course. But on them really hard 4 days where you're not getting many bites, I definitely reckon scent does help a lot. Like I said earlier, when we first started talking about yellow belly lures, I used the Gulp soft plastics, and then most of them are pre-scented. But I use all scents. Like there's Dizzy scent. I think I've got about 3 or 4 different flavors of the Dizzy scent, and then I've got the Sack scent as well. I think I've got 2 or 3 of them. I have a couple of scent pens where you can just draw it on, and there's 2 different colors. I've got a green and a red where you can change the different color of the tail of the plastic. Really, if it's a clear plastic, you can make it go chartreuse or a red, and it's scented like garlic scent. But definitely do use scents. And I really haven't used it for cod. It's usually for redfin and using it for trout and also using it for the yellow belly. But I just can't think that I've ever used it for cod, to be honest. I mean, I've done the old WD-40 trick and chucked some WD-40 on my lure because keep WD-40 in the boat for just in case of whatever purposes. But I've sprayed WD-40 on me cod lures when days have got really quiet. But
Awesome. I'm back.
He's back.
I'm back. You've done well.
I had my wife prompt me. I was just sitting there going, what are we going to do? And she's going, just keep talking.
I said to Harry to write everyone a note because I said it's only happened to me once before the show. I've jinxed myself because I'm having issues with my computer. For some reason, it keeps brand new computer. It just stalls and not even Control-Alt-Delete. So I have to go around and turn it. Anyway, long story short, we're back. So that's
we're back.
Good. So I'll have to watch that later to find out what your results for. Allianz, we've got a couple more questions. What I'm going to do, we'll come back to the last 4 or 5 questions that are there. We'll do Harry's wheel at the moment. I've just got to make sure that when I logged out, I didn't log him out. It doesn't look so. So I'll get Harry to jump out to his wheel. And a question from earlier on in the night has I've picked out, which was Justin Harden, I think it was, earlier on in the night. So I'll just find the question. He's asked a couple, but yeah, Justin Haddon. So from earlier on in the night. So Justin, what you need to do is write in the comments that you want Harry to spin the wheel, and when you've got 2 minutes to reply on that you want us to spin the wheel, and then we'll go from there. So that'll be for Harry's wheel. We'll get that on in a minute. Let's get to a question where we're waiting for Justin to write that in. Nevin wants to know about your necklace. Is there any significance to the necklace?
Any significance? No, there's no significance. It's just the whole fishing hook.
Yep.
And then, that was just as simple as it got.
Awesome. There you go. Great. So, there you go. I just want to make sure that Harry's out in there. Harry, you out there? Rightio. I'll just put you into the green room for a minute while I get Harry on to spin the wheel and win Justin's prize, and then I'll bring you back and we'll finish off any last questions. All right, mate?
Too easy.
All right. Hang on, Harry. Hang on. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. G'day, Harry. Oh, we got Johnny Depp this time, a bit of Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
So we've had Ryan Reynolds. Who did we have the first week?
The Rock.
Oh, we had The Rock. Now you're Captain Jack Sparrow by the looks of it. So you've got who have we given Justin's won the spin tonight. So you're going to and he's asked you to spin the wheel. So you better jump on and spin the wheel and find out what Justin's won.
I think I should give it a spin. Oh God, what I'm doing is pretty hard, so I need to get prepared. Oops. This is hard. Don't judge me.
I'm not judging you. It's just when you take out the... All right, there we go. We got a winner. Who was it?
It was Bassman.
Bassman Spinnerbait. So I'll check the prize board here. It's a gift voucher set. I've got them here. So Justin, we've got a Bunnings and a Woolworths Big W gift vouchers here to the value of, I don't have my glasses on. I think it's $40 worth of gift vouchers there. So Justin, once again, like the previous guests and everyone else, you need to send me a message to Corey's Dam Fishing with your address so I can post that out. Harry, thanks for coming on again tonight. You've got to go and get ready for bed because you're still doing school.
Yes, I am, and tomorrow's pretty good.
How are you enjoying your teacher principal scenario going for homeschool? So. All right, go to bed.
Bye. I love you all.
Love you all. Bye.
Bye.
All right, there he is. He's a bit of a card, that one. He
did a good job. Smashed it out.
I showed him a video once upon a time. He said, "What do you want me to do, Dad?" And I said, "I want you to be like Plucker Duck used to be on Hey Hey It's Saturday." And I didn't realize.
Yeah, good.
He didn't actually know who Hey Hey It's Saturday or Plucker Duck was. So
no.
So all good. All right, let's get a couple of last questions. I think I've covered. Paul wants to know if you had one technique to use for the rest of your days, with what surface lure would you use and what colour?
One surface lure and what colour? It'd have to be just a 100 to 120 mil paddle, like your just normal standard paddle in just a dark colour like black and white or black. I'm not the biggest believer in colours of surface lures. I know like you can get the different colours, but yeah, it's just got to be a black surface lure, and then it's got to be around that 100 to 120 mil.
I have a long running feud with a lot of my sponsors and my tackle sponsors about surface lures because I've never, still to this day, never seen a fish pop its head out of the water to have a look to see what was on the top of my surface lure.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Christy wants to know who your favourite deckhand is.
Yeah, I better say Christy because I'd get in trouble otherwise. But actually, she was more of, I wouldn't say the deckhands because when I had her on the boat all the time, she ended up out fishing me anyway. So I was more the deckhand. So I should have to say myself on that one.
Yeah, look, I don't care what anyone says, and I think it comes down to the fact that Langers and I have talked about this a fair bit, where both of us, our missus outfishes us when we get them out on the boat. And I think it's the reason they don't overthink it. They just go out there and fish, and they enjoy themselves, and that's why they catch fish. So, if we could turn that little man off talking on our shoulder, saying, "Oh, you've got to do this or you've got to do that," and just went out and enjoyed ourselves, we'd probably catch more fish.
Yes.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to? You know, obviously, Complete Angler looks after you. Any other?
Yeah, Rhonda, Complete Angler, definitely give a shout out to him. He's looked after me a lot of years and helped me out just from starting to fish, basically, in that respect. And then, I have to give a shout out to my wife because she's obviously been on here. A couple of your mates have been on here as well. So I have to give a shout out to them.
Yep.
And then, everyone else that sits there and watches me on YouTube and supports me through that. Yeah, definitely have to big shout out to you guys. I know as recent, I haven't really posted too much footage, but endeavour to put some more footage and content up on my channel and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, thank you very much for your support ever since the start. And I've got to do Mark McGrath at McGrath Lures. He bring me aboard for a sponsor as using his lures.
Yep.
And then they are really a really good lure. I enjoy using them for everything. I mean, not many people I know that fish with a 60 mil lure to chase cod, but yeah, I love out there the wide bodies, and then lipless crankbaits are really good too.
Yeah, great local company. Listen, tell everyone your YouTube channel so they can search it. What's it?
Yeah, it's just my name. I just thought I'd keep it simple. My name is Trent Freer, so that's what you just have to search on YouTube and I'll pop up.
Yep. What I'll do is at some stage I'll jump on and put a link in the comments there for anyone that wants to click on it or can't find it. Listen, mate, thanks for being a guest on the show. It's always
easy, mate. Thanks for having me.
It's always a pleasure to talk to new people and find out what's happening around the traps. I've learned so much from all the guests on the show. You're just another one that's taught me some stuff tonight and hopefully taught everyone some stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I will get you to stay on the air because when I cut the feed off, I'll just have a quick chat before you go. And to everyone else, thanks for jumping on again on a Monday night, watching Chewin the Fat. We'll be back next week at 8 o'clock with somebody else.